Alright, so before we get started again today and go on to the next set of sims, um, I've been doing a little bit of research on the basic economics, still just because of out of my own curiosity. Um, I found out recently that InWorldz has over 900 sims. These are really recent statistics, literally just came out like in the last couple of weeks. And so 900 sims, each one is being rented out for $75 a month. That's $67,500 a month, theoretically, that InWorldz is raking in from all these sims. So that's a nice chunk of change, right? Seems like a lot of money for virtual commodities, right? Okay, now get a load of this. Second Life, by the recent census, has 31,488 sims. That's actually down from 2006 levels when they had over 40,000 sims. And each one of those is being rented out at $295 a month. So how much do you think Linden Labs is making every month? Well, they're making $9 million, $288,960 a month, theoretically. I mean, obviously it's like a ballpark figure, but still. So it kind of blows your mind, like almost, you know, $10 million a month or whatever. That's just like an insane amount of money. Now, what are they doing with all that money? So, 2006 to 2011, when they actually had more sims, that's 6 years. They've made $668 million, 800,000. It's like an unbelievable amount of money, like a tremendously mind-boggling amount. I mean, every year they're making, right now, at current levels, $111 million. It's just like, wow, so much money, and I assume most of that's going into payroll, except for they just like fired a huge number of their employees. Anyway, this is kind of like, it's a sure sign of horrible mismanagement when you've got that kind of a revenue stream and you're still failing. Like, how could you possibly be failing with, that much money? I mean, they could practically be paying each of their employees $500,000 a year and still have money left over. Obviously, the infrastructure is gonna cost a lot, but still. Alright, anyway, enough of that. That's just sort of FYI. I found it interesting. Let's see if I can find out where I left off last time around. Bygone days. There it is. That was the last sim. It looks like this one's the next up in terms of the constellation sort of route that I'm following. This looks really developed. Just massive structures. So, alright, let's go. Delightful. I always love it when I res underwater. So that's what this is. Oh god, I gotta tell you. I'm a bit biased here. My opinion has always been of this kind of sim that it's sort of like the cancer of the metaverse. Kind of like the suburban sprawl of the metaverse. I mean, you can almost instantly see what's going on here. Yeah, this is basically like, this was the premier get-rich-quick scheme in Second Life for like pretty much forever. So like a developer, they come along and they buy a sim, and then they break it up into these little modular plots, and then they put up a little house on each plot, and then they rent out these houses like it's a timeshare kind of thing, you know. So sorry, but this kind of thing just puts me into a rage, because it's like, I mean, there's so little creativity involved in this, and a lot of the times the sim owner is going to just totally rip off their renters, because a lot of the times the renters are noobs. You know, you first come into a virtual world and you're like, oh, what do I need to do? And like you're at a welcome area and people are like hanging out there, and they're of course a lot of the kind of people who run these sort of sims are like, oh, why don't you rent a little house at my sim for 50 lindens a month or whatever. And so anyway, I totally I just do not like this kind of thing. Whatever. Obviously, they're capitalistic and they're trying to have an income, but it's like you just have a sim that is basically just a business. There's very little opportunity for creativity there. I mean, these plots are too small really for the renters to actually build anything substantial, so it's kind of useless in that respect. And the houses are all like prefab, so it's like the renters can't even build their own houses. And most of the time, like the builds are just like lowest bidder, as you can tell. I mean, these are well below average, the quality of these uh, buildings on here. So it's like, you know, I'm against everything. Yes, you'll get check it out. This one's being rented by Pepper Underall, and like it's on like a timer, so it's fully automated. The landowner doesn't really have to do anything. They just sit back and people rent out the houses, and I mean, from my point of view, it's pretty much just a scam. I mean, I think it's sick, but you know, people are willing to rent the properties, so whatever. Yeah. So let's see who owns this property, although it's already pretty obvious, isn't it? It's group owned, so they probably have like dozens of these Sims, maybe, potentially. All of them raking in a little bit of money. Are they even making tier? It's hard to say. But presumably they are, otherwise it wouldn't be a successful scheme. Otherwise, I mean, like a huge pecking order of monetary predators in virtual worlds. Like above this person, there may be a land baron who is the one who actually sold this land and maybe is renting it out to Sherry, and she in turn is like part of this huge um, cycle of wealth generation, which doesn't really generate any wealth and is just basically a pyramid scheme. And essentially, someone's always taking the fall. It's usually the person who doesn't realize what's going on, and so yeah, this kind of thing really, I think it should be. I don't think it should be legal. I think it's a detriment to virtual worlds um, in general. But what I would really like to do is talk to some of the people who rent these places out. Although there's nobody here right now, but if there was, I would love to like interview a renter and just kind of get their idea of. I'd like to hear their point of view, like if they uh, feel like their life is being enriched by these little properties, and that they really enjoy this and it feels like home or whatever. Because I would find that really interesting, just to because I kind of have this preconceived bias. I've just always hated these modular type. I mean, it's just like seriously, we have um, suburban sprawl in the real world. It's like cancer. Do we really need to duplicate that? I mean, look at how homogenous this is. I mean, these put track houses to shame. So, I mean, uh, I can also see like an alternative that potentially uh, a development like this where the builds were actually super high quality and like amazing, and like each house was unique and fantastic and wonderful, and each person on the land had, like, you know, plenty of land to build and plenty of prims to build with. Let me just see how many prims each person has available here. It's not really showing the subdivisions. This may not even be completely active. It may just be a few of these properties that are being rented out currently, although I doubt that. Looks like this is the head office here, maybe, or not. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just gonna keep ranting forever if I don't quit this documentation here. So yeah, Sherry's Serenity Island. Sorry, not exactly a star review on this one.